Interpreting events such as the Olympic Games opening ceremonies through a biblical lens, particularly concerning the idea of a demonic agenda, often involves analyzing symbolic and artistic elements and comparing them to biblical themes or prophecies. Before we start, we'd like to ask for your support. If you enjoy our video, please hit the like button. This will help us reach more people and create content for you. Now let's get started with today's video, examining the claim of a demonic agenda at the Olympic Games opening ceremonies through a biblical lens requires a thorough analysis of symbolic elements and their potential interpretations based on Scripture. This analysis delves into common symbols and themes, aligning them with biblical warnings, prophecies, and teachings. By scrutinizing specific examples from past ceremonies, we can understand how these elements might be perceived as promoting a demonic agenda according to the Bible. Introduction: The Olympic Games opening ceremonies are grand spectacles showcasing culture, history, and artistry. However, some observers interpret certain elements as having occult or demonic connotations. This analysis explores these interpretations, comparing them with biblical teachings and prophecies. Occult symbols: one of the primary concerns regarding a perceived demonic agenda is the use of occult symbols. These symbols, often embedded in the artistic and choreographic elements of the ceremonies, are interpreted by some as references to demonic entities or practices. Pentagrams and hexagrams, pentagrams, often associated with witchcraft and Satanism, have appeared in various artistic contexts. For example, if a ceremony features a star symbol prominently, it might be seen as invoking demonic forces. Hexagrams, another symbol linked to occult practices, might also be interpreted similarly. Ancient deities, ceremonies that reference ancient deities, like Baal or other mythological figures, can be seen as invoking demonic entities. The Bible specifically condemns the worship of such deities, e.g., Deuteronomy chapter 18 verses 10 to 12, which are often considered demons or false gods. Human sacrifice and pagan rituals: some Olympic ceremonies have included reenactments or symbolic representations that resemble ancient rituals or sacrifices. These elements can be disturbing for those who interpret them as references to pagan practices condemned in the Bible. Symbolic sacrifice: for instance, a ceremony might include a theatrical performance where a character is symbolically sacrificed. Such scenes can be interpreted as reminiscent of pagan rituals, which the Bible denounces, e.g., Leviticus chapter 18 verse 21. Ritualistic dances: choreographed dances that appear ritualistic might be seen as modern forms of ancient pagan worship. These performances can evoke imagery of demonic practices, especially when combined with symbolic elements like fire or dark costumes. Idolatry: the Bible frequently warns against idolatry, the worship of idols or false gods. Olympic ceremonies often involve large-scale performances where participants engage in synchronized movements or worship-like activities. These can be interpreted as forms of idolatry. Mass worship scenes: large groups of performers moving in unison, particularly if they are venerating a central figure or symbol, can resemble idolatrous worship. This can be seen as a violation of the biblical commandment against idolatry, Exodus chapter 20 verses 3 to 5. Icons and idols: the use of large statues, totems, or other iconic symbols in ceremonies can also be perceived as modern-day idols. The Bible's condemnation of idol worship extends to any form of veneration of created objects, Isaiah chapter 44 verses 9 to 20. Apocalyptic imagery: many opening ceremonies incorporate themes of destruction and rebirth, which can be linked to apocalyptic imagery found in the Bible, particularly in the book of Revelation. Destruction and rebirth: performances that depict scenes of destruction followed by renewal can be seen as invoking the apocalyptic visions of the end times. Revelation describes a series of catastrophic events leading to the establishment of a new heaven and earth, Revelation chapter 21 verse 1. Beastly figures: imagery involving beast-like figures or monstrous entities can be interpreted as references to the beasts described in Revelation, which represent evil forces and kingdoms, Revelation chapter 13 verses 1 to 18. False light and deception: Lucifer, often associated with light and deception, can be symbolically represented in various ways. Performances that glorify a false or deceptive light can be seen as promoting Luciferian imagery, aligned with the figure of the Antichrist. Luciferian imagery: any element that glorifies a deceptive or false light can be interpreted as representing Lucifer, the fallen angel. This can include performances that focus on themes of enlightenment or self-deification, Isaiah chapter 14 verses 12 to 15. Antichrist symbolism. The Bible warns of the Antichrist, a figure who will deceive many by performing signs and wonders. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verses 9 to 12. Elements in ceremonies that portray charismatic leaders or deceptive wonders might be seen as promoting Antichrist symbolism. Specific examples from past ceremonies to provide concrete examples. Let's examine specific elements from recent Olympic Games opening ceremonies. London 2012. The London 2012 ceremony featured a segment that some interpreted as occult in nature. The performance included figures resembling ancient deities, ritualistic dances, and a scene that some saw as a symbolic human sacrifice. Critics argued that these elements had demonic connotations, drawing parallels with biblical warnings against pagan worship and idolatry. Tokyo 2020. The Tokyo 2020 ceremony included futuristic themes and advanced technology, which some interpreted as a precursor to the mark of the beast described in Revelation chapter 13 verses 16 to 17. The emphasis on technology and control, combined with imagery of rebirth and renewal. Common elements and biblical references: occult symbols, pentagrams, hexagrams, and other symbols. Some ceremonies have used symbols that can be associated with occult practices. These symbols, like pentagrams, are often considered demonic in certain Christian interpretations. Baal and other deities. References to ancient deities or mythological figures can be seen as invoking entities that are considered demonic from a biblical perspective. Human sacrifice and pagan rituals. Reenactments or symbolic representations. Some ceremonies have included scenes that look like ancient rituals or sacrifices, which could be interpreted as reminiscent of pagan practices condemned in the Bible. Idolatry, mass worship scenes. Large groups of people performing synchronized movements or worship-like activities can be seen as a form of modern idolatry, which the Bible condemns, e.g., Exodus chapter 20 verses 3 to 5. Apocalyptic imagery, destruction and rebirth. Some ceremonies include themes of destruction followed by renewal or rebirth, which can be linked to apocalyptic imagery found in the book of Revelation. False light and deception. Luciferian imagery. Lucifer, often associated with light and deception, can be symbolically represented in ways that some interpret as promoting a false or deceptive light. Aligned with the figure of the Antichrist in Christian eschatology. Interpretation through the Bible: mark of the beast. Elements that symbolize control, surveillance, or technology could be interpreted as precursors to the mark of the beast described in Revelation chapter 13 verses 16 to 17. False prophets and deception. Artistic performances that promote a particular worldview or ideology might be seen as aligning with warnings against false prophets and deception in Matthew chapter 24 verse 24 and 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verses 9 to 12. Please subscribe my YouTube channel. I hope you like this video. Thank you.